Okay, so Captain America: Brave New World. I've been looking forward to this film, man. Is you know what I mean? It was purported to be laying the groundwork for a lot of stuff. So, who's behind it, right? Julius Onah directs. It's written by Rob Edwards, Malcolm Spellman, Dalan Musson, Julius Onah, and Peter Glanz. I think, right, that some of them came on for rewrites, and it's one of those ones, people, right? The film is produced by dum 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 Kevin Feige. I never know how to pronounce homie's name, right? Nate Moore. Executive produced by Charles Neuwirth, Anthony Mackie, Luis De Esposito. Co-produced by Mitchell Bell, Kiana F. Davidson, associate produced by Gillian Henry, with line production from Helen Pollack. Laura Cartman took care of the music. Kramer Morgenafu is down with the cinematography. Madeleine Gavin and Matthew Schmidt edit the piece. Sarah Finn took care of all the casting. Our production design is from Ramsey Avery. Art direction, we got Zachary Fannin, Alan Hook, Christine Leckie, and Jay Pellisser. Rosemary Bradenberg was set decoration. Costume design, we have Gersha Phillips. Right? So, the cast. Obviously, Anthony Mackie is back as Sam Wilson, Captain America. Danny Remez is, Falcon, right? Joaquin Torres. Not officially Falcon, but he's Falcon. You know what I mean? We've got Carl Lumbly as Isaiah Bradley. Right. Harrison Ford is Thaddeus Ross. Thunderbolt Ross. President Ross. Right. We got Ruth Bat Seraph. She's played by Shira Haas. She is an ex-widow, right? Samuel Stearns, a.k.a. the leader. It's played by Tim Blake Nelson. Sidewinder, played by Giancarlo Esposito. Layla Taylor, played by Jorash Rockmore. Copperhead, played by Johannes Hokor Johansson. Who is this? Commander Dennis, played by William Mark McLaughlin. Prime Minister Okara, played by Takahiro Hira. Prime Minister Kapu, played by Harash Nayar. The French president, played by Rick Espaillat. Yeah, I feel they're probably our main people. Jackal, played by John Chigara. Whiskey, played by Eric Mombanda. Koji Nishiyama is the Japanese pilot. Yeah, I mean, that's probably it, right? Liv Tyler's Betty. Betty Ross, that is. And we got Sebastian Stan as Bucky, right? Yeah, that's our main crew. The gist of the film, people, is Sam Wilson, the new Captain America, finds himself in the middle of an international incident and must discover the motive behind a nefarious global plan. So as said, right, this is meant to lay the groundwork, right, planting the seeds for the next Avengers film, for the X-Men, right? And you can definitely see some of that here, right? Because Thaddeus calls Sam in, asks him to set up a new Avengers, right? It also could lay the groundwork for the Thunderbolts, right? Because in this, Ross wants the Avengers to be under his control. And the Avengers don't work like that, right? Avengers don't work like that. So, you know, there's some interesting things with that. We have the whole celestial on the island situation from Eternals. So that's where the adamantium is, right? And we know, obviously, Wolverine, his bones were coated with adamantium. So it's kind of planting all of those seeds, which is interesting. Very interesting. Now, looking at this film, compare it to the other Captain America films, right? Where does it stand? I don't know if we can actually do that. Because this isn't, it's not that film. Right? What do you mean it's not that film? What I mean is, people, this kind of, well, it, for me anyway, it felt more like a political thriller. Right? Felt more like a political thriller than, you know, a typical superhero film. Weren't mad at that, right? Weren't mad at that at all. You know, there was like, I think it's called 13 Days, right? It was about the lead up to the Cuban Missile Crisis. I believe Kevin Bacon was in it. It's a really fucking good film, people. It really is. There's another film like The Contender. That's what this kind of felt like, you know, just with some superheroes up inside, you know what I mean? Because, you know, in this one, we got Sam. He has no superpowers, right? He didn't take the super serum. He was just given some wings, you know what I mean? And that's what's interesting, right? And we get that in this film because he doubts himself at times, right? It's like, I should have taken the super serum. And I think this film is looking at that, right? What can people do when it feels like everything's stacked up against them, right? When you don't have, you know, those powers, right? You don't have anything special and it's just down to your grit and determination. Right, what do you do? Also, with, you know, Joaquin, we have got that thin line, right? It's that thin line between being cocky and, you know, being reckless. So we look at all of these things, which is intriguing. Right, especially in this world full of people with now these superpowers, right? And then you've got the adamantium and everyone wanting to be in control of it. So what do you do? right? How do you work that out, right? How would you stop your opposition from having access, right? Like so many things are, put in play. And then the whole thing with Ross, right? I think we've seen it, how people make deals, right? They make deals with unsavory characters. Look, I think a huge example, and there's been a load through the years, but a huge one at the end of Second World War. The Nazi scientists, instead of getting thrown in prison, everyone was grabbing them, right? Everyone was grabbing them because it's just like, oh, fuck. They could help with the space race. They could help develop, all these other things. So it's just like, even though these heinous motherfuckers should have rotted in jail, it was looked at as, we could use their expertise, right? We could do that. So we have that explored here, and you can understand the reasoning. Obviously, you can look at it and be like, I wouldn't make that choice, but you can definitely understand it. And when it's involved with this character, you'll be like, of course, that person would probably do that. So there's a lot of different components. Did it all play out exactly, to the perfect degree? Maybe not. Right? Maybe not. Maybe yes, there was definitely some things that could have been better. But I thought this was a solid film. There was interesting new things that Sam's wings could do, which I thought, oh, that's interesting. And it also adds that next layer to his character. So I thought that was good. But I thought it was very intriguing, right? This whole game of cat and mouse, this whole thing trying to plot out what exactly is going on. How can we, work all of this out? I can't remember what's happened to Josiah, right? There's Isaiah Bradley, but we had that great miniseries, The Truth. Oh my days, it's written by a really great guy who unfortunately passed away. And I cannot remember the name, but it's a really good one because it explored Josiah, right? And what happened to him. Yeah. We've also got his son. I think it's his son who's in the Young Avengers. Right? I think that Robert Morales wrote The Truth, and it was drawn by Carl Baker. Really good limited series. If you have not seen it, highly recommend checking that shit out. Yeah, Robert Morales was a great writer, man. Was a great writer, great dude. But yeah, it was interesting. I thought it was interesting, that character and, what they were doing, right? We get this new, agent who I believe she's, been a character in Marvel. They changed her background slightly, Ruth Bat Seraph, but another interesting component. And I think it does lay groundwork, right? You are intrigued to see how do we move forward from this, especially from where everything is left now. It's like, how do we move forward? What's going to happen? You know, how does this play into the Thunderbolts, right? How does this play into Avengers, to X-Men? So I thought it was done well. I thought I did enjoy the fight scenes. I thought the fight scenes were good. You know, a lot of the action was good. Yeah, there was stuff like Sidewinder, interesting character, but it was a bit like, it's one of those things with the film, right? Because you do have characters, but sometimes you did feel like they were underutilized, or their arc doesn't really conclude, you know? Right, we've got Layla Taylor, right? That character, it just felt like she was, there was more she could be doing. More that she could be doing. So, yeah, not perfect, but interesting. An interesting exploration of politics, which, I'm not sure we've had so far in the MCU. So, yeah, I enjoyed Brave New World, people. I enjoyed it. You know, as I said, is it the best Cap film? No, but it's a different film. So I think you can't judge it against Civil War. Right? You can't judge it against, First American or Winter Soldier. You know, it's a different animal. But definitely worth watching. If you enjoyed the other films, yeah, this is worth checking out. So that's it, people. My thoughts, Captain America, Brave New World.